Yeah.
All right, what's going on, y'all? It's another episode of On Screen with East Lorraine. And today with me, I have none only than Jazz Be Fit, Jazz the Hustler, Jazz Everything. How are you doing today?
I'm well, beautiful. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I can't complain. Before we get things kicked off, I always like to ask my guests, what's the top 3 songs you got in your rotation right now?
The top 3 songs. Okay, so the very first song right now that I've been listening to is called Scat by Chaz. Chaz, it's OTR Chaz. He's based out of Baltimore. I really been on his music since we went to Vegas. The other song is that song by Lil Yachty. What he say? I be falling.
I be geeking.
Yeah, that song.
I be
don't know.
high. Yeah, Holster. That's the name of it.
Holster. And then my third song I've been listening to a lot of is Project X by Young Nudy. That's crazy. I don't have any R&B. It's just all
No, I'm the same way.
I
I'm the same
love
way.
rap music because like when I'm doing hair, I need something to keep me awake. I need something to keep me going. Like, so I try to do that upbeat music. But yeah, that's my top 3 right now.
I love that. So
Yeah.
you're born in Raleigh, North Carolina, raised in Orlando, Florida. Tell me a little bit about your upbringing. What was your childhood like?
Yes. So yes, I was born in Raleigh and then I wasn't even 2 yet. That's when we moved to Orlando. My parents divorced shortly after. So my mom was actually the person that raised us. You know, my father was in my life, but it was my mom that, took care of us and raised us. So being in a single parent household is really where my hustle came from. Just watching her grind. She's a news reporter in Orlando, Gail Pascal Brown, Channel 2. Okay, put my mama in there, plug her in. But she is one of the most amazing journalists, has won so many awards just for her work. And just a true definition of a hustler. So, like I said, just watching her, just making sure my brother and I were always taken care of, making sure the bills and stuff, the ends were met. Like her level of faith and her level of hustle is really unmatched. So, she doesn't even understand the half of how just watching her is how I am the woman today is really because of her. So I'm thankful for my upbringing. Like I used to be upset, like, oh, I wish I was in a 2-parent household, all that. But number one, it's like that doesn't define you. You know what I'm saying? There's people that come from 2-parent households that still don't have it together. So that's not, I don't care what stigma they try to come up with. I'm not gonna let that define me. Like, my mom was my mother and my father at times. So, just watching her, like I said, like she is a bona fide hustler girl. Like that's where it came from for real.
I love that. Shout out Mama Jazz. Shout out Mama Jazz.
Shout out for real. Yeah.
Now, you went on to go to college at the illustrious North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University. Come on, Aggie Pride.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Thank God for that school. I couldn't see if I did it all over again, I would still choose A&T. Seriously.
I said the exact same thing. Because, like, honestly, going to HBCU, it gives you just a certain amount of, for me, a certain amount of ambition that I just know I wouldn't have gotten from anywhere else. So if you don't mind, can you speak on like your college experience and what even prompted you to decide to want to go to a HBCU?
You know what's so crazy? And I feel so ashamed, but we're going to blame it on the school systems, especially in Florida. I really did not know much about HBCUs. I didn't really know the difference between a PWI and a HBCU. It really wasn't until I had family members, my cousin Diamond specifically, that went to A&T, graduated not once, but twice from there. And when I was in undergrad high school, I wanted to go to UNC Chapel Hill. I wanted to go to their dental school. I was a Tar Heel fan, diehard Tar Heel fan. Like, I'm like, this is the school I want to go to. Okay, I love me some Carolina Blue. I'm like, look, this is where I'm going to school. And I didn't get accepted. I'm not gonna lie. I had the grades, I had the GPA, but I applied late. And one thing about North Carolina schools is they're really big on, funneling in North Carolina residents. So I was like, I know I'm gonna eventually go to dental school there. At least let me become a North Carolina resident. And I was trying to figure out some ways and what schools it would be interesting, for me to go to. And it's so funny because I was at GHO before I was even a freshman in college. My cousin Diamond was like, look, you're 18 now. You got to come to GHO. You got to come to homecoming. And I'm like, all right, I'm coming. So I really went there for homecoming. I was like, yo, this school is lit. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know about the A&T4. I didn't know about the sit-ins. I didn't know about anything. I applied to the school. It wasn't until orientation that I started learning the history. And I said, well, I love what they stand for. I love what's going on. This is going to be the school for me. So that's really how I got there. My cousin, anytime I've made a major change in life, it's because of her. Like, I can't even say, like, that's like my big sister. So anything she tells me, like, I trust her judgment. So that's how I ended up at A&T. I actually started off, I went in during orientation as a business student, and I switched my major to biology. Because again, I wanted to go to dental school. And so biology was the hardest
Now,
thing.
biology is a beast. My boyfriend is majoring in biology. I feel
No.
for y'all 100%.
Only people that got us beat, I ain't gonna lie, is the engineers. I'm sorry. I'm not here to judge anybody else's major, but the engineers got us beat by far. But biology was hard. Now, there were some classes that I really enjoyed, like microbiology, ecology, things of that nature. But when it came down to taking physics, organic, biochem, basically shout out to Chegg, because your girl wouldn't have made it through if I didn't have Chegg account. Okay? Because that physics was about to take me down. Calculus, they had me taking all
You speaking a foreign language to me right now. I promise
girl,
you.
stuff that didn't even apply to me. I said, I'm not gonna be using this in the future, but you know what? I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna go on and do it. But I literally was like, look, while I was still being a biology student, just like a lot of other college students, I had to work. So I started working in the gym. Like, first I started in the lab. I was in a research lab, and I was like, yo, I hate this. And that's when I really knew that, like, biology was not my passion, but I needed money. I was an out-of-state student. I had to, I was living off campus because it was cheaper for me. So I didn't have a meal plan. Like, my parents was like, look, we got you there. You got to thug this out. You know what I'm saying? So I was working at Texas Roadhouse. I was doing a research lab. And then I was like, you know what? I'm tired of all of this. So I started working in the gym. I really started to find myself, that summer, I think it was like summer of 2016, just loving fitness, getting myself in shape. I was doing Herbalife. I was in a nutrition club. And so when I got back to A&T, I was like, you know what? I want to start teaching fitness classes. So I applied to be a fit coach in the campus rec. And then aside from being a fit coach, I also was doing my own side hustle where I was doing something called survival of the fittest. And it was actually a body transformation for students on campus through the entire semester. So I was making money not only working in the gym, but also hosting these boot camps that I was teaching, like Monday through Friday, or was it Monday through Friday? It was a couple days out the week. And then I was also teaching workout classes through the campus as well. So it was a lot. Like, that was really
I can imagine.
Yes. And then after that too, I started trying to do locks. So like, that's when locks was first introduced to me. I was dating this boy in college, and he needed his hair done for, a job interview. And I was like, okay, boo, like, I'll do my hair. Like, I'm gonna figure this out. And he's telling me how to do it. And I was like, oh, this isn't bad. Like, I actually really like this. And then after that, I just started, any of my friends or anybody I saw that I knew that had lost, I'm like, let me do your hair. Like, I'll do it for free. In college, we didn't have the funds, to be going to the salons. Well, shout out to Black Barbie, because they had them Wednesday blowouts. It was like $20 or $25 for a blowout on Wednesdays. But that was affordable back then, you know what I'm saying? But that's when I started really touching and understanding locks and, started to do locks. It's crazy. Like, I got to send you some footage, but what it looked like back then and what it like now, I don't even know how I was making money back then.
But no, that's the growth. Like, that really shows you got out the mud, literally. Like, literally.
I was in my college dorm apartment. Well, excuse me, my college apartment. I was doing hair in the kitchen, washing hair in our little sink. You know what I'm saying? You got roommates, they got dishes all in the sink. Oh, excuse me, I gotta wash these dishes real quick before I can wash your hair. Like, I literally was doing hair for free. For free, I went to $20 or $25, then $35. I think I capped it off at like $55, like max. And that is still crazy to me to think about that process, like starting hair. It was wild.
Nah, that's dope. And like, so with all that going on, it obviously shows like how you've been able to balance so much from like early on and to now to where you have your brands and your passions grow into Jazz Got Me Twisted, grow into Jazz Be Fit. Do you feel like that moment in your life kind of prepared you for where you are now and how you're able to juggle so many things?
Yes, because one thing I always felt was that, I wanted my mom to not have to worry about me when I went to school.
Mm,
Already having to worry about tuition, books and all that. If I could have money to pay my rent, to pay, my phone bill, my car notes, whatever, like I wanted to take the load off of her. And
mm,
so I've always had a by any means necessary mentality when it came down to, me handling my funds and my finances. I'm like, you know what? I know I want to do A, B, C, and D. I have to have money for it. And so all of those things, me wanting to be active on campus, like no matter where I was, I try to figure out, okay, how am I gonna make some money wherever I am? You know what I'm saying? So even though I was employed by the gym, I took it amongst myself like, look, I could do fit camps in here. I had Herbalife. Look, you get on nutrition products, I'll discount your workouts for the semester. Like, then it was like I was triple, double dipping, you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
it
yeah.
in that one area. And then, working in the gym, I see people coming in with locks. I do hair if you need your hair done. Like, I was always figuring out a way to get some. Look, I gotta if get somebody by tomorrow was the person, it was me. Okay. So that helped me. I was like, I have all these obligations, but you gotta have the funds too. So that's what helped push me to, do my thing and juggle everything. And even now, like I'm still working on work-life balance. But one thing I said,
Mm,
look, when you've been in a certain place and you've fallen and the bottom's going to teach you lessons the top can never teach you, especially when it comes to your finances and your faith. Like I said, look, I felt like for a while I was running from the broke jazz. Like I never wanted to feel like that. You know what I'm saying? I never wanted to feel like I needed
yeah.
anything really from anybody. I know we all need somebody at some point in time, but finance is such a touchy subject. Like you'll help somebody and they'll throw it in your face. And that's something I never wanted for myself.
Mm.
I'll exhaust every single method, every single way before I go back and ask my mom. Just trying to make sure that my mom didn't have to worry about me. So whatever it took, that's what I had to do. So yeah.
Kind of want to backtrack a little bit. You received your degree in December 2019.
Yes, December of 2019. Yes,
Mhm.
that's when it was.
So, like, with having all these passions and all these interests, how was life for you, like post college, like post grad? Were you able to jump into all these things and pursue them full time? Like, did you feel like your degree was like, okay, I got this degree, but I have these passions. Did you feel kind of like, torn between the two?
It was really before I even graduated that I knew that dentistry was no longer my passion,
Mm,
that entrepreneurship was beginning to take over. And my parents at first were like, well, what you mean? Like, we just about money, like all this other stuff, you accumulated this debt. Like, girl, what you about to do? And I really, even though because COVID hit right after
yeah.
graduation in 2020. Although COVID was a very rough time for a lot of people, it gave me my grounding. And I say that because January of 2020, I used to play flag football when I was in college and I tore my ACL.
Mm,
So I wasn't even in the gym. My mind was like, okay, now my knee is not working. I don't have an ACL. I'm hurt. I could barely walk. I'm on this big old brace. How am I still going to make money in the fitness industry and I can't even get physical and be in the gym? I'm
yeah.
doing physical therapy. So it was during that time that I had to really sit down post grad and decide, okay, yeah, you want to be an entrepreneur, but what are you going to do? Where are you going to go from here? Like, what does your business and your funds look like now that COVID is now hit and you're hurt? I'm like, well, my leg is hurt, but my mind ain't hurting. So let's go ahead and get
No,
these
that's
online
right.
workouts going. Let's go ahead and make some more workout plans that I can sell on my website. Let me do some 8-week body transformations where people can work out at home because we're going on lockdown. My mind was working like that. So when
Mm,
we went into complete lockdown, I had already been through physical therapy, but I had been continuing my body transformation challenges, but now it's been online. So it was just like, okay, even though all this stuff is happening, thank God I was able to sit down for a second because it allowed me to think clearer. Like I had to fast for a week and figure
mm.
out what my new plans were going to be moving forward. And so I was just like, okay, let me push these workout plans out. Let me get through all of this. And then by the time May, or was it March? March, I gotta double check. Whatever a few months came around, I started
Mhm.
doing Zoom workouts, right? So I was on Zoom. I think I was charging like, I don't know how much I was charging for the week, maybe like $50, $75 a week
Yeah,
per
that's still
person.
solid. Yeah.
And I was like, I was in the living room. I had my laptop or my phone, and I would plan out the circuits, and it was all body weight, or if they had what's it called, elastic resistance bands. I was
Mm-hmm.
doing the workouts, even water bottles. Oh my gosh, I remember I was doing water bottle jugs. People weren't able to leave the house. I was using water bottles to, to help them with the workout. Like it was
Mm-hmm.
crazy. And I was like, yo, if I could just keep this up, I'll be all right. And so that's literally how I was able to make it during COVID and still produce the funds. Even though I wasn't able to physically be anywhere, thank
Yeah.
God I had my laptop and I was still able to be connected to the network that I was able to develop, in college, because that network is how I was able to really keep going and make it post grad life.
Yeah, I love that you mentioned that, especially like network is so important. Even just the overall COVID aspect. I feel like now that we're in the time that we're in now, like COVID is kind of like a second thought because we kind of like brush it over, but it still like
Yeah.
has significantly impacted so many lives. But so
Yes.
many great things and great mentalities have been able to been developed out of that time period.
100.
Kind of want to fast forward a little bit to where you are now, currently based in Houston, Texas.
Yes.
How'd you end up there?
So again, during COVID, what was that? Was that May? That was May. I got a phone call from my cousin. She was working for Twitter at the time, of course, before
Diamond?
every.
It was a diamond.
Yes, it was
Come
Diamond.
on, Diamond.
Look, Diamond got me at A&T and Diamond got me to Houston. Let me tell you how. So Diamond called me and was like, Twitter is doing relocation packages. We're going 100% remote. And Diamond had been trying to get to Houston for a minute. Like, she got to tell you that story about Houston, but literally she wanted to be in Houston. I told my boss, my mentor at the time, I would move to Houston at some point. She's like, you would do very well there. And she was like, we're doing the relocation package and I'm gonna go. And she's like, I want you to come with me. I'm thinking she wanted me to visit. Like, I'm like, yeah, girl, I'll come. Like, I'll visit, I'll go, I'll do whatever. And she called back next day. She's like, I don't think you understood what I meant on the phone the other day. I was like, what did you mean? She's like, I want you to move. Like, let's move together. Let's get an apartment.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay. Again, whenever I'm not sure of a decision, I fast. So I
Yeah.
went and I fasted for a week. And I said, all right, God, I know that you open up doors for people, but if this is a door that you want me to go through, I need you to show me. I need a vision. I need a dream. I need a vessel. I need something, because one thing I've learned is I don't want to be outside the will of God. Like, I'm gonna take it
Amen.
there for a second. I've been through a lot of things in this life, and the one thing I don't want to be is on the wrong side of the flow of His blessings, because that's when you start losing time. That's when you start to feel behind. That's when you start to feel like you don't know your place in this world. And I didn't want that. So when I fasted and I asked Him, like, I really need you to tell me if this is what you want from me. I kid you not. I had just finished teaching one of my Zoom classes, my workout classes, and I get a phone call from my homegirl, Akiva. And Akiva is one of my girls. She also went A&T, Akiva Rooks. Like, she's one of my spiritual sisters. Like, I can talk to her about, things I've experienced, and we could
Mm-hmm.
have those prayers and we could go back and forth and talk about God. And she says, sis, I had a dream about you. And I'm
Oh.
like, girl, what you talking about? Like, what was the dream, sis? I'm like, oh. She said, girl, you came up to me in the dream. You had blonde hair and you were crying. I'm like, what you mean, girl? What, was my hair bad?
Not
Like,
the
was it bad? Was it about? Like, girl, she's like, girl, you came up to me and you were crying in the dream and you said, I told her in the dream, I knew God would do it. I have a job offer in Texas. I said, wow. I was like, but even before the dream, while I was fasting, I had begun preparing for whatever the answer was going to be. I just knew in my heart it was going to work out, but I wanted the confirmation first. I was getting rid of clothes. I was giving stuff away to the Salvation Army. I was
Mm-hmm.
putting stuff on offer up. I was getting rid of tables, chairs, mattresses. I was like, I'm preparing for this move because I don't know where I'm gonna be, but I know Greensboro is not the place for me because I feel like I've outgrown it. Like, I was looking for apartments and I was just depressed. Like, the prices were horrible, the areas were not good. I'm like, this is not what I want, but I'm gonna try to have something in place just in case. But I knew that I didn't want to stay in North Carolina, and I knew I didn't want to go back home to Florida because I felt like I was gonna get complacent complacent. I was going to be comfortable. Even when I was injured, I was home for a month. And as soon as I had the ability to walk again, I drove my car back to Florida, like back to North Carolina. I could not stay. Like I knew I wanted more and I wanted bigger. I wanted more territory. I didn't know what I was going to be doing. I didn't know what this would be later, but I just knew I had to trust God. And that was my confirmation. And I called Diamond. We applied for our apartment. We got approved the next day.
Amen.
They waived all these fees, these app and admin services. They waived all these things because it was COVID. We got a great, we had a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, beautiful apartment. And I was like, wow, like we really moving. So I moved that following July. I got here July 20th of 2020. And that's literally how I even got to Houston. Like, that's literally how it happened.
Come on, testimony.
That's testimony. Like, y'all don't even know the half, bro. Like,
I love crazy. That.
Yeah.
This is kind of going to my next question anyway. You've been able to touch base on it so much, but like just the significance of having like a faith and a prayer life when it comes on not even just like in entrepreneurship or like fitness, but just overall. And I know you have your platform, Pray Girl Pray, where you're able to inspire others on their faith walk journey and stuff like that. So can you just speak a little bit more about that and just again like the pertinence of having like a faith life?
Yeah, speaking of Pray Girl Pray, I gotta get back active on there. It's so much happening, but I need to hit my Asia. We gotta get that back going because we had a good thing. Like we were really doing our thing up
there. The people need it.
Yeah, they do. I do. We all do because it was helping me during that time. I'll tell you that. But you know, I always say it's one thing to hustle. You could hustle all day, right? You know, you could grind all day, but your faith is going to carry you even when things don't look right, feel right, seem right. It's just like having faith, having a prayer life is literally how I've made it here. Like just trusting that I'm trusting that expected end that God has spoken about. You know, I'm trusting that even in my weakness that he'll be able to provide me that strength. I'm trusting even when things are going left, you know, even when things are falling apart, even when I'm broke, even when, you know, my mom, her faith might not be at the highest place, that I can say, God, I trust you. And I know that you're not going to fail me because every single thing that you've allowed me to go through, the good, the bad, the ugly, has created me for such a time as this. Like, even when I felt like I couldn't help myself, you still use me to help somebody else, which shows that even in my deepest times, you still love me, that I still have a purpose. Like I always say, no matter what the day looks like, even the most imperfect days still have purpose, right? So it's just like that faith, like that driving force, me just trusting. Even, oh my gosh, I remember just before I even started doing hair, stuff was falling apart left and right. And I'm like, what is even happening? Like, you're telling me, and God has given me so many dreams, and it gets deeper than what people know. Like he sent prophets to me and vessels, and it's just like I have to hold on to the things that he said, because if it's been spoken, it has to happen. Like I don't know
already on the path.
I don't know how it's gonna happen. The when and the how is not for me to know, right? It's just up to me to walk through this life, this purpose that I've already been given. Like I love that our paths are already written. So even when we slip and fall, even when we mess up, like these are all part of the path. Like there's nothing that I can do that's going to take me off of the course that's already been written for me, right? There's nothing that anybody can do to stop a blessing that God already has for me. And I feel like that's what's carried me. Even when people try to, you know, ruin your character or lie. What's it? That song, they whisper, conspire, they share their lies, but God has literally still favored me through so many things. And it's just like, if you have helped me get through this situation, I know that this situation is no different than the last, right? If you have shown me that even in my brokenness, that you could still use me to heal somebody else or to pray for somebody else, like that, there's something bigger on the inside of me. And I just have to allow my gifts to really make room for my mess, to make room for my chaos, to make room for my emotions. You know what I'm saying? Like I ain't even trying to preach right now, but it is
no,
like,
I'm trying to tell you, if y'all feel the spirit moving.
I didn't know the half. Like I thank God that prayer was introduced to me at such a young age, because it was my mom. I remember, oh my gosh, there was one night she put us to sleep and she was just so tired. She was so down. And I remember going downstairs and seeing my mom just in that position of surrender, like she's down on her knees praying. And I didn't understand that the bending of the knees, the submission, the God I trust you, just her humbling herself and putting aside everything and just being in that state of worship, like it did something to me. And so, anytime I ever felt like I couldn't make it, I find myself in that same position. Like,
come on now. Don't get emotional. No, take your time. For real, take your time.
Just humbling myself and trusting God. Like, that's the only way I made it. Just my faith. Like, that is the only way that I've been able to make it. And just praying and just allowing him to be that comforter when I needed that. Like, allowing him to be the provider. Like, I asked God, like, God, if you said that you were these things, if you say that you're a healer, if you say that you're a provider, I need you to be that for me right now.
Yeah.
And that's literally like why having faith and having a prayer life is so important, because it's like when I feel like I can't go on, I know that even in my imperfections, I serve a perfect God. And I'm gonna wrap it up right there, because girl, I would be toe up on this floor in here laid out, because girl, you won't
I love that. And that passion is so important. And not gonna lie, like I feel like sometimes when we prophesy like this, it's not only that other people need to hear, but that we are reaffirming to ourselves that like, hey, like sometimes, like you said, I'm in such disbelief that this is really like God has his hand over me. He's literally like has me in his hands, covering.
Child, so many times. I remember just sitting there, even starting this business, I was really down. I'm like, everything is falling apart. My Forex team is falling apart. The business as a whole is falling apart. I'm working at this gym here in Houston, and that's the job offer that she was speaking on. It was cool for a minute, but just working in there, that started falling apart. I'm just like, what am I going to do? Like, I was really at a place like, God, what am I going to do? Because I don't know what I'm going to do. I can't figure this out. Like, I need you to look, I need an adult. I need you to step in and tell me what to do, because I'm falling apart right now. Like, and it was just like, girl, you forgot you do hair. And I was like, wow, I did forget to do. Sure enough.
Like, you forgot the talents I gave you? Like, what?
What? Then that's another thing. Like, why is it? It's like we get these talents and we get these gifts, and it's like we literally sometimes have our back against the wall, and that's when we start pulling. It's like everything we need is already on the inside of us, right? And it's like our back gets against the wall, and that's when we're like, oh, yeah, I forgot. You know,
because we can never see our stuff how other people or how even God sees it sometimes. That's really how it is. It's all about perspective.
It's crazy to me, man. It's crazy. Oh, girl, you took me there. That place to remember.
I didn't even mean to, but I love that you were able to be that transparent about it. Come on now.
Let me toe up on this podcast. Lord have mercy.
So I'm gonna just do a quick speed round. All about you. These are favorites. So I'm gonna just throw out the subject and just give me what your favorite thing is.
Let's do it.
Okay. So, favorite color?
Purple.
Hairstyle?
Oh God. I love that bust down jet black middle part, 30-inch straight. That's my go-to.
Come on with a classic, like a nice classic look.
I love that. It's my favorite hairstyle.
Guilty pleasure snack?
Peach rings. I love the trolley peach rings. That's my. And I ain't gonna lie, this is real country, but I like Vienna sausage.
I'm screaming. Vienna sausage.
Right brand. It's the blue brand, the Armor, not the Libby, not the Libby's, whatever that is. It's the blue can. That blue can. That's the one I like. And hot Funyuns. I got a couple things. And all of them.
Favorite exercise?
My favorite exercise. Ooh.
I love me some RDLs. I'm not gonna lie.
I was gonna say the good mornings. It works the hamstrings. It's similar to RDLs, but you put your hands behind your head or you can use the weight. So it's similar. RDLs, yeah, single or double, like single legs. But when I do the good mornings, it works both my hamstrings. That's the weakest part of my body.
Favorite guilty pleasure TV show?
Law and Order SVU. I don't watch Criminal Intent. It gotta be SVU. Special look. Shout out to Olivia and Elliot. That's my show. Look.
Oh wait, and last one, favorite rapper.
My favorite rapper.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, of all time or like right now?
Say right now.
Lil Baby. I'm gonna do his hair.
Come on, Big 4PL.
4PL.
Shout out my label, that's me.
Shout out my label, that's me.
I love that.
Yeah, I love Lil Baby. I do love Lil Baby.
Now get it back into your career and stuff like that, and just like your passions. Mm-hmm. Tell me about what your life is like being a celebrity travel stylist, and who are some of the people that you've been able to be blessed to work with.
Oh my goodness. Being a celebrity travel stylist, it requires a lot of patience because you might have a time frame of how you like to do things, but you have to be able to really quickly adjust to their schedules, to their needs, especially that time limit, time frames when they're catching flights or they're getting ready for shows or photo shoots. It's crazy because I did not think that this would happen. I literally was just on Instagram and I started seeing different celebrities with locks, and I was like, hey, my name's Jasmine. I'm a lock stylist here in Houston. I have this whole little script, little write-up, and I would send that to all of them. And so some people have found me, some celebrities have found me through like their management or through word of mouth. When it comes to my NFL players, of course, their teammates, you know what I'm saying? So I do hair for about 4 or 5 of the Texans players right now. I do hair for ESTG. I've done Chloe Bailey, No Cap, Houston artist by the name of Bloodbath. Who else have I done? There's a guy that signed to Moneybag, IME Casino. Who else? I can't think right now. I just did Tank's daughter, Tank the fighter, his niece's hair when I was in Vegas. I can't think. Who else? I think that's my celebrity catalog right now. A couple YouTubers, influencers, but yeah, mainly NFL players. Those are my main guys whose hair I've done. Mm-hmm.
Now, coming from, like you said, washing hair in the sink of your college apartments to, doing Javante Tank Davis and NFL Houston Texas players' hair. Did you? Nah, did you ever get starstruck in the beginning, or just be like a moment of, I don't even say starstruck, but like a moment of like, wow, like, I'm here.
Yes. Just about every time it's just like a dang, like it's not more of a well, I will say the one time I didn't show it, but on the inside I was screaming because I didn't know whose hair I was going to do. Mm-hmm. Like one time, the very first time I did ESTG's hair, I didn't know I was going to do his hair at all. I got a phone call. She said she had a high profile client. She didn't tell me who he was. She just told me that they had to fly out that night. He was on tour or whatever. I don't even know. She told me he was on tour. But I remember her phone number area code, and the area code was for Kentucky. Mm-hmm. I'm like, what artist, rapper?
Kentucky.
It's a Wednesday in Houston. Who got a show? I get on the phone with my homegirl. I'm like, look, I don't know whose hair I'm about to do because I make sure my family or my checklist of whenever I'm going to celebrity's house, like I have a whole setup of my order. Like I let them know where I'm gonna be, who I'm servicing, a contact number, like let them know where I'm gonna be. I don't drop lows just because I don't ever know who I'm gonna be doing, but I make it known the area that I'll be in, etc. And I'm like, a Kentucky area code on my phone. I'm like, who? I'm from my homegirl. Like, who could be from Kentucky? She got ESTG, Jack Harlow. I said, well, Jack Harlow ain't got no locks, number one. Well, ESTG is on tour with Future, so it can't be ESTG. We like, I don't know. Girl, I pull up to that studio, and I'm like, I see a nice truck. I ain't going to say what type of truck it was, but it was a nice big body. I said, oh, this ain't no TikTok rapper either. This is a real rapper. Man, I go inside and it's dark. I'm like, this is some scary news. This is real scary. And I admit, like, I was just so focused on walking to the back door. I didn't even end up seeing the pictures on the wall after the fact. They opened that door and G was sitting behind the door. And I'm like, he like in his massage chair. He had hurt his back or whatever. He had his massage chair. And I'm like, it's ESTG. Like, in my mind, I'm like, it's ESTG. What? Like, this is tripping me out. He on FaceTime with Yo Gotti, and I'm like, okay, this is tripping me
A little
out.
too much. It's a little too much.
It caught me by surprise, and I was
Yeah.
like, what? He's like, how you doing? I'm like, coolest guy ever, coolest guy ever. And I ended up going on to start his wigs, and so I did his hair that day, and then I went back like 2 days later, and I was with the man for like 10 hours, and get another stylist starting his wigs. So we had a lot of time to get to know each other, and just talk about his past and music, and he let us hear a lot of songs, and it was really dope. I really did enjoy, being able to spend that time and like build like that business relationship. You know what I'm saying? So that was probably one of the coolest moments, I'll say. Cap was cool too. No Cap was
Mhm.
really cool. And even though he doesn't have his locks anymore, I still see him because I do his brother's hair, a couple of his homeboys, bodyguards, stuff like that. So I'll be in the studio with them. I still see everybody. So that's still my dog. We locked in. Out the Cap.
You locked in. Even aside from like doing such notable names there, you've been able to go on tour like across the world.
Yes.
So like, how has that experience been? Like, traveling across the world, doing the stuff that you love, like the passion that you love.
That was when I first got invited. My first time ever traveling was to London, and I got invited to teach a class and take clients out there, and that grew into something really beautiful. I've gone back twice now. I've been to London and I've been to Belgium, going to to Europe, and it's a blessing because they're so thankful that to have a stylist that knows different things. The beauty standard there is very different than how it is in the States, especially in Houston. In Houston, everybody's always outside. We always have events. We always have things going on. So it's just like, you know, they're so appreciative because they look to the United States, Houston, Atlanta, Vegas, like all the major spots, Cali, like they love how we do things here. So when I'm able to take it and give it to them and style them, like their responses are so humble, like they're so happy, they're excited, like they're all in the camera, like, oh my God, I got my hair, jazz in my hair, like they're so happy, and no matter how long the days are there, because I be in there working, we be touching like 6 clients a day, 6 7 heads, like that's kind of double what I do here. And then the pricing is different too, but to me it makes it worth it, being able to take that skill set, not only be able to make money anywhere but impact lives and give the treatment, stuff that they typically might not get in their their areas, like being able to provide that service is dope.
You've been able to like create your own ebook about how to like touch 6 figures with the power and tools of entrepreneurship and social media. Can you
Yes.
talk a little bit about the process of creating that ebook and how these tools have, again, helped your businesses and stuff?
Absolutely. So again, remember when I was saying like I didn't know what I was gonna do, and I was like,
Yeah.
okay, but we gotta do hair. Like what I did was use all of the marketing tools from like the Forex business, from the other fitness business, from Herbalife, all the network marketing tools that I ever learned, I applied it to my hair business. And so social media, I always say, is a vehicle. It'll take you places if you make the right turns. And so I decided I'll give a couple gems like mass DMing, like having a script that I use and sharing that with anybody that I could be of service to, or also following up with likes and comments, just interactions with your followers. And then most importantly, consistently posting. Like reels are such an amazing and powerful tool. Even YouTube now has shorts,
Yeah.
reels, TikToks. That's literally how I was able to build my business, just posting consistently. Like I was there 90 days just straight posting, grinding. Even now I look back, my work wasn't as great as it is now. Like it was good, but it wasn't great. Like now it's fire. Like that bit fire. Like, you know what I'm saying? But back then I was just capturing as much content as I could, repurposing content. Like even if I didn't have a lot of clientele, I would show a different angle of this style, or try to use different prompts and stuff like that, and stuff on my reels and on my posts. And that's how I was able to grow my following. I think I had like 100 and something odd followers when I first started my hair page back up, that year. And now I'm at like 42,000, you know what I'm saying? And my business is going into, it'll be 2 years in July. So my first year in business, I was at 25K. by the end of my 1 year mark. So me posting consistently, me reaching out, doing my mass DMs, using hashtags, using my Houston location. And also I'm one of those people, I was taking business cards everywhere.
Oh,
Like I
that's
talk
great.
about this in the ebook, in person and online networking. I was at Prospect Park, address the major clubs, venues, restaurants. Hey, my name is Jazz. I'm a lock stylist here in Houston. Like, if you ever need a hairstylist, I'm not sure if you have one, but I just want to give you my card, leaving my business cards. I've seen a girl do this in the restrooms and like on the sinks and stuff where they got to wash their hands. I was
Yeah.
doing it there too. So, I was always, always, always pushing my business out, always pushing my business, no matter what. Like, that's really what helped me, gain that consistency, build my clientele, and I stayed consistent. So even when they came to my site, they had something to look at, so that's what helped me, get my business where it is, for sure.
We've talked about a whole lot, and hopefully by now people who are listening have a grasp of like all that you do. I want to touch base a little bit more on the personal side. What do you do to like maintain your self-care and kind of like, on your off days when you just want to settle down? How do you feed into jazz?
So I try my best to take off days.
Mhm.
Sometimes when my bag is calling, I'm answer, but I'm doing better with my work-life balance. I'm trying. So I love going to the spa.
Okay.
I love eating. Like, Houston has such a variety of restaurants and stuff like that to try out here. So I'm constantly trying new restaurants. My cousin has a business called Black Directory, so we try new Black owned restaurants
Mhm.
during the months and stuff like that. What else? I love to sleep. I love to sleep. I need sleep. That's my thing right there. And then working out. Like, I honestly, I hurt my hamstring, so I was taking some time off, but I got to get back into the gym. But working out also helps me relieve a lot of stress. I can say, like, just taking that time to do anything that's adventurous. Like, there's a lot of stuff to do in Houston, but like I said, it's mainly like food and stuff like that. But just taking that time, like I said, resting, trying new things, and yeah, that's really my self-care day. Just having quality time with like my loved ones. It's just diamond. It's diamond out here in Houston. Like, we're our only family members, so we spend time together. And my boyfriend, my now boyfriend,
I'm my
we
boyfriend.
so I just try to do it like that. Just for this.
Before I get you out of here, please tell us like what do you have coming up next and how can we get connected with you? And yeah, all the things you have coming up.
So I'm cooking up a lot of good things right now.
Mhm.
One of my major things I'm excited about is going to be the Trifecta Master Lock class coming up in June. It's a 2-day lock class to help teach people from beginner level all the way to advanced with
Mhm.
two other amazing lock stylists. I love collaborating because there's always room to grow, learn, and teach others, in what you have going on. So that's a major thing I have coming up for June. A couple of things I'm working on. I'm writing a book right now as well, so I have got to get that out soon. So I'm in the back. I can't tell y'all the title yet, but it's really gonna be everything, a lot of things we touched on in this podcast, plus other life things, the testimonies, the journey of how I got here, like all those things are gonna be in there. So it's gonna be really juicy. I'm excited for the way that I've written it and the features it's gonna have, because it's really transparent me, like all the
Mhm.
way, like the good parts of me, the ugly parts, stuff that people would never know. Like, I'm being very transparent because one of the major things I've always wanted to do is be able to help somebody with sharing my story. You know what I'm saying? So the stuff that we feel is bad, or oh, I can't believe you're gonna talk about this, is the stuff that people need to be set free. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
there's power in testimony, and I want to help, people be able to, women especially, be able to realize how they can get their own and find their own way just by trusting God. So that's another thing that's coming up. I don't want to tell y'all too much, but that's a major thing I wanted to talk about. And of course, my YouTube channel. I'm getting better with my vlogs. Like, I'm going into my third week of posting now, so
Come on,
I'm
congratulations. Let's get a round of applause.
so I got that going on. But yeah, so that's really it. Traveling. I got some dope trips coming up for my birthday. I can't wait to share that with you. We're doing Tokyo and Thailand for 27. So that's about it. We outside this summer, but we grinding too. We really grinding for sure.
Love that. Thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate you
For
and your
having me.
time.
Thank
Before
you.
you get out of here, I love to give all my guests their flowers and just, kind of uplift them. And I really just, I've been following you for a minute. Now, like we've been following each other for a minute. I just always see that you're always on guard, always inspiring others, and just always being true and authentically you. And so that's really one of the main reasons I wanted to have you on my podcast, aside from like, of course, all the obvious reasons, but just really you always show love, and I just really appreciate you for being authentically yourself and just existing in the space that you're in and inspiring other Black women to it really gets the bag as you've been doing yourself. So yeah,
You.
just
Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you for having me. And, thank you for creating this platform to share. Like, you never know who you'll be able to tap into, who you'll be able to connect with. So I appreciate you for just following your path, being obedient, using your platform and, just for being so kind and working with my crazy schedule.
Girl, of
So
course.
thank you so, so, so much, love. And, I'm only a call away if you need anything at all. I got you. So thank you.